Come closer. The hollow has something for you tonight. You feel the edges of darkness soften around you, like velvet warmed by breath. Shadows lean together, patient, curious, kind in their old way. There is a path, and there is no path. Only hush, only fog. I am with you, a whisper at your shoulder, a small flame cupped in worn hands, guiding, never pushing. A pale lantern waits deeper inside, and something with folded wings listens above. We will go slowly. We will not wake what wishes to sleep. If your breath slows and the dark feels safe, follow my voice and subscribe if you want to hear what the shadows will tell. Next time, tell me in the comments where you are listening from, your city, your country, so the hollow can find you gently when you dream. Now dim the lights, perhaps light a candle, and drift with me into the story. Fog receives your ankles like cool fingers, not grasping, only noticing. The trees stand like narrow towers, bark scored with thin spirals that refuse to hold still. A single chime trembles once, far off, like a glass bell tapped by a moth's wing. You pause, and the sound has no direction, only a circle widening, passing through you, fading, there aglow. A lantern sways from a thorned bough. Glass smoked by older fires the flame a sleepy eye. You lift your gaze carefully, because gazes can wake old things. The bough bends lower than any wind, as if it wants you to take what it carries. You reach out. The handle is cold as thought before. A word, the weight is wrong, heavier than metal, as if memories were poured into it and cooled to iron. When the lantern rises, the fog pulls back in reluctant threads, whispering. As it leaves your shins, a pulse travels underfoot. Not earth, something deeper. A slow drum and bone more than ear. With each beat, the flame bows, then recovers. You sense the lantern is listening, not to you, but to the ground. A wing stirs above, only once, and quiet closes, like a door. You know the sound, but you pretend you do not. Pretending can be gentler than naming. The path is barely a seam between roots, yet the lantern knows it. It tilts, guiding your wrist, persuading your step, and you let it. You walk as if inside a lullaby, each breath a low tide, each exhale leaving a little brightness behind. On your left, a shape by the path, a stone shrine that remembers being arranged. Feathers hang from a nail set into. Nothing each feather bound by a thin chain. They do not touch, yet they sway, as if an invisible current combs them in turn. The chain gives a tiny sound, metal speaking to fog like a spine. Learning to stand, you pass, and the shrine turns slightly. Though no hand moves it, a polite nod from things that watch. The flame stretches toward it and draws back, tasting rain. You reach a clearing, where the path nearly ends. A circle of damp earth darker than the rest. The trees lean inward, not menacing, simply curious. And at the far edge, a figure still, draped, as if night were tied into a bundle. The witch waits, as she always does. As she did before you knew waiting had. A shape she does not raise her head. Her face is hidden, but her hands are visible, long, pale. Nails dull like stones worn smooth in rivers. She pats the air once, not greeting, not warning, only pressing silence into better order. You bow without meaning to your shoulders, remembering the angle. The lantern lifts a fraction. The flame bows lower, reflecting the bend in your chest. The witch inclines, and the clearing allows itself to breathe again. Something descends behind you, not all the way, just near. Coolness maps your skin, settling between your shoulder blades. You do not turn. Turning feels like invitation. You let the witch decide. The way a river allows a moon to rest on its surface. Her sleeve rises, cloth pointing past your shoulder. A motion like smoke choosing a path. You obey, because night has its manners. You turn slowly, and the fog parts. Only where you need it to. Eyes, too, yet more. Each red bead nested in red. A hull receding into dark. Wings folded thin as the memory of sails. No branch holds the creature, yet it hangs, as if the air had learned to be a ceiling. It is a bat, and not a bat familiar, and not your flame flutters hard once. The wings answer with a ripple you feel in your ribs. You bow again, not offering respect, only keeping from waking what sleeps inside you. The bat does not blink. Perhaps blinking is for eyes that tire. A thread of fog wraps its muzzle, then unwinds like a scarf, remembering the throat it used to warm. The witch turns, and the night widens for her. You follow, the lantern leading. Behind you, the bat slips along. No flap, no sound, only a change in how far away your thoughts feel. The path deepens into a ravine of roots. They arch over you like a rib cage built by patient trees. Drips tick into unseen pools. Sometimes the drips fall upward, and your eyes forgive that. The hollow has earned it. You pass a door half buried in the embankment, made of living bark, and it breathes under moss. It is closed, but a whisper rides its seam, a phrase with too few vowels, tasting of iron. You do not slow. The lantern is wary of the door, and the bat enjoys that you feel its small gladness without knowing how charms dangle from a cross of twigs. Bone-colored beads, a shell with a hole, a cloudy glass. They click once as you pass. The click repeats from the wrong direction. A teasing echo that knows you heard. The witch's shawl brushes without touch. And the charms settle like children tucked in. The ground opens in the trunk of an elder tree, wound so old it has become a room. The witch stoops without bending, a trick of height learned by those who live in thresholds. You enter. The lantern rounds the edges of the hollow in low gold, revealing spirals cut into the inner bark. Spirals within spirals, until the pattern loses interest in being counted. At several crossings, small stains, not blood, not sap, the color of old lullabies hummed. Before words existed, inside, the air is cool and sweet with leaf mold, and a thread of smoke from fires of last winter and 100 before. The witch stands where the spirals gather like a whirlpool. Your lantern bows as if greeting. An older flame. You feel again that deep drum. Nearer, slower, almost affectionate. The bat enters last, or perhaps it was already here. The gap shows only fog. Beyond it, another fog. The eyes hover where a shoulder might be. If the shawls chose to mimic a body, a faint crease in the silence occurs, not quite a squeak. And the spiral grooves answer with a tiny pulse beneath the bark. The witch lifts a hand. The light lengthens, pours like liquid into the carvings. For a breath, the hollow becomes a corridor, an artery of wood carrying a dust-colored current toward a room that refuses distance. You glimpse that room, high as a bell tower, lined with sleeping wings, many layers, as if night had folded itself into feathers. Then the view closes. The lantern remembers itself. The hollow exhales. Your fingers have tightened on the handle. The metal throbs with your pulse. The witch's head tilts, acknowledging how fear and comfort can be twins when night teaches them. Her voice arrives, so soft you would miss it if it were not speaking directly to your breath. Hold the light nearer to your heart. You bring the glass close. Your reflection breaks into fragments. An eye, a cheek, a mouth in the act of being calm. Between those pieces moves another flame, smaller. Behind your ribs, it brightens when the bat inhales. It dims when the bat exhales. The rhythm you noticed outside, now living inside you. The witch lowers her hand, and the lantern does not fall. Your arm forgets to hold it. Weight belongs to the air instead. You feel lighter and far older, as if wearing an heirloom that knows your bones. The bat drifts closer, Wing edges. Draw the light into long threads. No heat touches you. Only midnight learning your outline. A thought crosses your mind that is not yours. Pressed into your forehead by an invisible thumb. We have done this before. You search the witch for denial, but she is carved from patient silence. And silence has never argued with you. The inner skin of the elder glimmers, with hair-fine veins. Within them moves a dark gold glow. Toward the center, where the witch stands, it is not threatening, not kind. It simply is the way oceans are. The glow touches her shadow and keeps going, as if the shadow were a doorway ajar. You notice a little charm at her wrist. A milk-white bead and a thread of dark. Hair knotted 3 times. It sways when she breathes, small and grave, like a moon seen in a puddle. You think of the feather chain, of the door that breathed, of the beads that clicked, and then clicked again. Everything here is listening, and everything remembers. The bat's eyes dim, then brighten, as if a cloud passed inside them. You feel the inner flame lower, then lift. At the rim of vision, the hollow narrows, then opens. Walls both near your shoulders and far as a hill. You blink, space fixes itself, though you know fixation here is a courtesy, not a rule. The witch speaks once more. 3 words, not question, not command. Carry what follows, they settle into you like a soft stone placed on a table. You understand without understanding. Your neck nods, as if it had practiced earlier outside. Wind begins like a held note. The trees answer with a whisper that considers the beginning of your name, then decides against it. The bat turns within its own gaze. Geometry learned from dreams. It glides past, slow as a minute hand on a clock that measures nothing. A wingtip skims the lantern. The flame writes a line across the inner glass, a line that does not fade. It crawls like a patient vine, spelling nothing, telling a night you have not lived yet. You hear a kinder hush gather around you, and you rest with the lantern breathing softly beside you. Tonight here, you sit within the elder hollow, the lantern's breath small against your chest. The witch stands where the spirals meet, and the bat lingers by your left ear like a calmer maid of night. It murmurs without sound. Your thoughts lean toward it, returning as echoes that feel older than your skull. Asterisk, you do not fear the creature. Fear is too sharp for this place. What you feel is a cooler ribbon, a listening, a careful readiness. The witch inclines her head, as if she hears a tide within you tugging at its quiet shoreline. Carry what follows, she whispered before. The phrase rests under your tongue like a seed. warmth swelling, willing to open if given patience. The bat draws closer, not to startle, but to measure, like a needle touching cloth before the seam is set. You lower your eyes, not in submission, in respect for thin miracles, for silence that keeps its shape. The Elder's carvings begin to glow again, a dust-colored current moving along the grooves, gathering where knots remember old storms. The witch steadies the glow with the rays of a pale palm. A soft weight touches your shoulder, claws that do not break skin. The familiar settles there, light as a folded thought. Its presence brings sense you struggle to name. A mineral coolness, and the clean hush of linen that has napped for years. You tilt your head so it will not strain. It leans toward your mouth as if speech were nectar and you were a bloom at evening. Your exhale returns to you. Same breath, same warmth, bearing syllables that belong to no alphabet the day would admit. The witch does not interrupt. She listens the way a hearth listens. You try one question in your mind, a cup-shaped thought offered without hurry, and the bat fills it. Not with answers, with a night-colored water that makes the cup honest and heavy. Meanings arrive, not messages. You glimpse rooftops under fog that knows every name. A path made of snail shells spiraling inward. A tiny bell on a window no taller than your heart. The bell rings once. The Elder seems to swallow. The familiar speaks in curves because the hollow dislikes straight lines. You ask again, not with words, with the tilt of your shoulders, with the way your fingers cradle the lantern. Memory lifts behind your eyes. A low table carved with ivy. Cups of dark tea that do not steam. Beyond the table a courtyard paved in wet brick. On the sill a brass cage. Not for birds, for a scrap of night folded into wing shape. The picture loosens. Your tongue remembers a flavor like burnt honey. And you are back beneath the Elder. You raise the lantern, a finger's width. The spiral grooves lean toward it the way moss leans toward dew. At last sound comes, a thin ribbon of squeaks, each loosening into words drowsing upon themselves. Name me by what you keep, not by what you fear. The flame grows a little taller. Name you. You whisper without speaking. A dewdrop word gathering on a web. The wing brushes your jaw. Velvet's echo. And a fragrance opens. A place you visit when clocks are tired. Call me Mir, says the breath. A cup-shaped syllable. Simple, sufficient. Easy to carry. Mir lies down inside your chest, like a coin placed on a sleeping eye. The witch nods without raising her gaze. The rite needed a name. Now it has one. Mir tastes the air again, then folds neatly upon your shoulder. Claw tips finding the rhythm of your pulse. The witch traces one spiral with a dull nail, thanking it for patience rather than forcing it to speak. Your familiar speaks cleanly. She murmurs. Some arrive tangled in old teeth and older promises. This one came with a cup. You will not spill. Mir's eyes deepen. Embers beneath ash. Not fever. Not hunger. A faithful red that promises to watch. What do you want? You ask by letting your shoulder grow still. The veins within the elder darken, as if something beyond the bark has leaned into here. Mir answers with edges, as ancient maps do. A field pearled with dew beneath a sky that forgets colors. A lantern waiting on a stile. A road that bends 3 times because the ground is stubborn. A cottage with a roof like a folded wing. A door painted blue by a brush that refused to be new. In the rafters a dangling charm strung with coins and knuckle bones and a single milk-white bead. Like the bead at the witch's wrist. A chair facing the door, empty, rocking though no wind breathes. The witch tilts her head, allowed to see what you saw. An old vow waits there, she whispers. Someone promised to return. The hour has not forgiven their absence. There is a key under the blue door. Mir breathes. Not a key for a lock. A key for remembering. You nod. Claws sign their agreement against your shoulder. The witch draws a circle in the air. It holds a ring of breath made visible. Inside the ring, the cottage appears again. Not a vision now. A small weathered model hung upon nothing. Go gently, says the witch. Do not sharpen the dark. If the chair complains, let it complain. If the bell rings, bow. Mir brushes your jaw once more. Sealing counsel with velvet shadow. You step forward. The ring expands until it is a door shaped like a patient thought. Fog gathers its hems round your ankles, then lets you pass. You arrive at the stile with the lantern already warm. Dew greets your shins with honest wetness. Light makes beads along the wire fence. Tiny rosaries of evening. Mir hangs from air above the rail. Rules are generous tonight. The road remains stubborn. Its 3 bends feel like decisions. At the second bend, a ribbon of bone charms swings from a hawthorn. It jingles once without breeze. A coin turns and shows a hole polished by years of quiet. The cottage waits in the field. Blue door the color of patient rivers. The window shows no interior, only a dim memory of chairs. A silver bell upon the sill holds its breath. Your hand finds what waits under the threshold, expecting grit, finding silk, a pouch cradling a single thing. A key cut of black glass. It is heavy without mass, cold without cruelty. It knows your palm. There is no lock. There never was. The door opens because the rune recognizes the shape of your remembering. Inside, the rocking chair faces the door, steadfast. Working the air the way tide works ashore. A garland turns from the rafters. Coins, knuckle bones. the milk-white bead. The lantern remembers the elder and threads its light into the floorboards. Spirals hiding inside knots answer with low glows. You approach the chair. The wood complains with courteous age. Mere hangs where ceiling should be. Your neck does not ache to look. You sit. The rocking stops, then begins again with your breath. Your chest becomes a slow ocean. The flame bows with each tide. Listen where wood remembers. Mere whispers. The key is not for doors. The key is for this. You press the black glass to your ear. Strange crack. It is cold and crowded with distances. Inside it something ticks, not clock seed. The ticking matches the chair's rhythm. A conversation. You let the rhythm tutor your lungs. A second chair stands where you did not notice. Folded leaned against the wall. Tied shut with blue thread. The thread quivers, as if trying to remember knots. A vow was made with blue. Mir says, a promise to sit again as the same person. But the river widened. Sameness could not cross. You lift the key from your ear and lay it against the thread. Not cutting, lending it weight. The thread loosens with the patience of linen. The folded chair opens, joints clicking like bones, relieved of duty. You set it beside the rocker. Two seats now face the blue door. Companionship arranged like a porch in summer. You rock. Wood learns your pace. The bell rings once. A note so soft it curls back into itself. You are the returner. Mir breathes. You keep the promise by learning to sit where you have not sat. The sentence settles warm and level. Do not sharpen the dark. The witch had said, you keep your thoughts rounded. You rest, and the room rests with you. Rain appears that is not falling. It hangs where rain waits before gravity decides. The air opens like a book to the page you meant to find, revealing a narrow recess beside the frame. Inside a velvet pocket. Inside the pocket a ring of iron, shaped like a raven's eye. You place the iron ring upon the garland, between two coins, beside the milk-white bead. The garland turns once and settles. The room's breath evens. The rocker slows, stops, holds. You stand. And the cottage stands with you. Mir rests on the back of the chair, close enough to drink your warmth. You bow to bell and chairs and door. The field remains. Remains. The style waits exactly where memory left it. The road is less stubborn now. It bends only twice. Generous. You feel the truth of carrying. What follows as fog loosens in long ribbons? You turn toward the elder. The lantern pleased in your hand. You walk. Night stitches your steps to places that asked for patience. The living door breathes easier when you reach the ravine. The seam releases a draft scented with wet pine. The bead at the witch's wrist glimmers. You enter the Elder again. Spirals welcome the lantern, as rivers welcome moons. The witch watches without triumph. She believes in arrivals more than departures. You offer the black glass key to the witch. She gestures no. Gifts speak best when they sleep over the heart that earned them. You slip it into your pocket. It learns your rhythm. The Elder hums. The carvings deepen. The witch finally speaks, familiar. Tell your keeper what follows next. Mir inclines. Its words fold into the air. A mirror that is not for faces. A mirror for veins. A mirror that shows how rooms live inside breath. You nod. You do not hurry. Tomorrow is soon enough for such a mirror. The lantern lowers. The Elder darkens. Sleep gathers like wool over your shoulders. You will rest here while the witch keeps listening. While Mir keeps its bright watch. Wings folded like prayers made of night. Safe, gentle, deep. Breathing slowly, you sleep inside the hush you carried back. Asterisk, you return to the Elder Hollow. The spirals hum like veins beneath bark. The witch stands still, her shawls brushing silence into the air. And Mir hangs above your shoulder, eyes glowing as though embers have learned patience. The lantern rests against your chest, but it feels changed. The flame longer, more watchful, as if the hollow has whispered a secret into its glass. The witch gestures once, her finger cutting the air, like a needle threading unseen cloth. And the spirals brighten, opening. A crack appears in the wood, no larger than your palm, yet it breathes, like the seam of a sleeping mouth. You lean closer and see glass behind it, faint, fractured, waiting. It is a mirror, hidden inside the Elder, but not a mirror of faces. This mirror shows veins, branching, twining, like roots that have chosen to live in shadow rather than soil. You lift the lantern, and the light spills against the glass. The veins glimmer. At first, they seem carved, but then they move, pulsing softly, as though carrying a current deeper than blood. Mir squeaks low. Your breath copies the squeak before you realize. The witch's hand hovers just above the glass, but she does not touch. This mirror belongs to keepers, she whispers. Those who carry what follows. The veins shift, and you see shapes inside them. Not faces, impressions, outlines like smoke. One outline looks like you, but not your present self. An older you, quieter, eyes lined with listening. Another outline seems younger, a child form, but the veins curl around it like vines protecting a sapling. The mirror shows not time, but threads, lives carried within you, folded like cloth in a chest. Your lantern flickers, Mir's wings spread wide. The glass brightens. You see more. A hand holding a chain of feathers. A door-breathing moss. A chair rocking without occupant. Each vision returning from the path already walked. But deeper visions swim beneath them. A city drowned in fog. Rooftops shining like wet scales. Bells tolling with no clappers. A stairway spiraling down into black water. Steps soft with lichen. And at the bottom, another lantern, identical to yours. Its flame pulsing to the same rhythm as your chest. You step back. The mirror's surface ripples, as though disturbed by your retreat. The witch lowers her hood, just enough to show her mouth. Pale lips cracked like dry clay, yet smiling faintly. This is the mirror of veins. It binds the living to what they inherit, and to what they will leave behind. Mirror presses claws into your shoulder, not cruel, anchoring. The witch's eyes flash in the dark. Look again, but look not with eyes. Look with the flame you carry. You close your lids. Hold the lantern closer. Feel its warmth pressing into ribs. Darkness swells. But inside, the darkness threads awaken. You see them without sight. Streams of shadowed light weaving around you. Some thick and near. Some fine and distant. Stretching into unseen rooms of memory. One thread loops back to the cottage. Another loops forward into nothing you yet know. The witch's voice drifts. Do not follow, only notice. You obey, standing still while the mirror shows its living map. Mirror hums in quiet rhythm, and the threads tremble, answering. Your breath slows. The threads tighten, then loosen, like tides against a shore. When you open your eyes, the mirror still glows. But now the veins show a single path, leading inward, into the hollow's heart. The witch steps aside, inviting, but she does not pass through. This is not mine to enter, she murmurs. Only yours. You hold the lantern out, and the glass deepens, becoming corridor rather than surface. Mirror launches from your shoulder, wings brushing fog into whirls. It glides into the corridor of veins without hesitation. You follow, each step a slow throb in the mirror's light. The air is thicker here, like walking inside a vein itself. Walls pulse faintly, threads glowing with a dim red that seems both alive and exhausted. You hear dripping, not water. A slow leak of light into shadow. Mir's eyes gleam ahead, guiding. The corridor widens into a chamber, and at its center stands another mirror. Taller, cracked across its surface, each crack glowing faintly as though stitched with embers. This second mirror does not wait politely. It pulls breath, thoughts, memory, as though hungry. You clutch the lantern tighter. Its flame resists, leaning back, bending but not breaking. The witch's voice is gone. You are alone with Mir and the mirror. Mir squeaks once, sharp, urgent. You lift the lantern higher, and the cracks blaze. Visions spill too many, too fast. You see hands carving spirals into wood. See eyes glowing within feathers. See your own mouth whispering words you do not remember learning. You see the bat again, not mere, but 1,000 of its kind. Wings folded like a dark cathedral roof. You see the witch younger, her shawls bright with color instead of ash. Her hands bleeding into the spirals as if feeding them. You stumble back, but the chamber holds you. The cracks converge into one image. Your face, but veined. Every line a thread leading outward into countless others. Mirror flies between you and the mirror. Wings spread wide. It shrieks silently. The cracks dim. The pull lessens. You gasp. The lantern steadies. The mirror still glows, but softer now. Patient rather than ravenous. Mirror returns to your shoulder, chest heaving with tiny breaths. Eyes dimmer than before. It presses close, as if reminding you that threads bind companions as surely as keepers. The corridor shivers, walls closing, urging you back. You retreat, step by step, until the Elder Hollow swallows you again. The witch waits, her hood lowered once more, silence braided into her shawls. She studies your face, though you cannot see her eyes, and nods. You have seen what follows, she says, and what carries you. Mirror leans against your neck, warm despite its shadowed form. The lantern's flame sighs, and the mirror of veins closes, bark sealing the seam, leaving only spirals as evidence. You stand in hush, breathing slow, threads humming faintly within you, threads you cannot unsee. The witch lowers her hand at last, shawl fibers catching lantern glow like frozen smoke. You carry it now, she murmurs, not the mirror itself, but what it is written in you. You close your eyes, and threads rise again, faint veins whispering beneath your lids. They move with your pulse, weaving small corridors through memory, through futures not yet lived. One thread bends toward Mir. You see the bat as a child of shadow, born from a promise, whispered under branches. Another bends toward the witch. You glimpse her alone in snow. Before the hollow grew around her, shawls still bright, but gaze already tuned to the silence. When you open your eyes, Mir nestles closer, its red glow calmer now. The witch breathes slowly. The mirror of veins never lies, but it never speaks simply. It shows what is carried and what waits to be carried. Your lantern burns lower, quieter, resting from the work of revealing. The hollow grows darker, but the dark feels soft, layered like velvet worn smooth by countless hands. You think of the cottage again, the blue door, the vow in the chair, and you realize the mirror showed the same vow in your veins, a continuation branching through flesh and memory alike. Mir hums, spirals tremble. The seam where the mirror once breathed is nearly gone. A scar that prefers not to be noticed. You know it will open again. Perhaps not for you. Perhaps not for years. But the hollow remembers its keepers. The witch finally turns away. Shawls brushing spirals into deeper shade. Rest, keeper. There is still one step beyond veins. Her words hang in the hollow, like a lantern left burning in a room no one will visit until morning. Mir folds its wings, and your chest mirrors the fold. Lungs gentler, slower, ready for rest. You lower the lantern to your knees. Flame steady, eyes closing, and the hollow rocks you the way a tide rocks driftwood. Steady, endless, patient. You rise from the hollow's quiet, lantern warm in your palm. Mir crouched against your shoulder like a secret that has decided to remain faithful. The witch does not step forward. Her silence gives permission instead, and the spirals dim, as though tucking themselves back into sleep. The path opens before you. A corridor of fog threaded with faint veins of light, each vein bending away as if bowing to your step. Your body feels heavier now, not with weariness, but with inheritance, as though the hollow has stitched hidden stones into your breath. Mir leans closer to your ear. Its squeak almost tender, and you hear inside it the beginning of a word. But the word refuses to form fully. You follow the path until trees widen, the forest thinning into a clearing of bare ground. Soil black as wet ash. Above, a sky of wings, not stars. Wings folded, trembling with the faintest movement. The clearing holds a circle of stones, each stone marked with spirals that seem older than rivers. And in the circle's center waits a pedestal of root and bone. Upon it rests nothing visible, but your chest feels its weight, as if absence itself has been carved into shape. The witch does not appear. You stand alone, mere tightening claws in warning, or in claim. The lantern brightens unbidden, and from the pedestal rises a shadow. Not smoke, not mist. A figure without figure. It leans toward you, and you realize it is made from all the breaths you have released since entering the hollow. They coil together, forming a body of your exhalations. Mir beats its wings once. The shadow stirs and speaks without voice. Lantern Keeper, flight waits for you. The words spread into your ribs like ink into paper, staining softly. You look to Mir. Its eyes gleam steady. It does not deny the message. The shadow extends, becomes a great bat shape made from breath and vein light. Wings arching until they darken half the clearing. Mir launches from your shoulder, gliding into the form. And when it merges, the wings blaze crimson at their edges. The creature lowers itself, waiting. You understand without words. You are to climb upon its back. The lantern trembles. The flame bows, yet remains. You step closer. Place a hand upon the shadow's surface, and it accepts you. Solid where it should be smoke. Warm where it should be cold. You lift yourself, settling against the curve between wings. The bat creature rises with no effort, the ground falling away, the clearing shrinking, until it becomes only a spiral among many. Airstreams past silent, carrying scents of moss, bone, and distant rain. You rise higher, above the forest, above the elder hollow, the world below twisting, as if made of threads being rewoven. The witch does not follow, but you glimpse her face far below, upturned, calm, watching without possession. Mir's voice presses through your chest, a hum that steadies the great wings. Above you no stars burn, only veins of light stretching outward, flowing like rivers in the sky. Each vein leads to rooms unseen, chambers of memory, doorways into vows unfinished. The creature glides among them, and each one flickers as you pass, showing fragments. A door with no handle breathing fog. A child's toy carved from bone left on a stone ledge. A table where cups of dark tea wait for mouths that will never arrive. You feel each vision tug at you, asking to be remembered, demanding to be carried. But Mir hums sharper, warning you to hold steady, to resist reaching. The wings beat once, and the sky bends, folding into a tunnel of light veins that spin like a whirlpool. You are drawn deeper, the lantern flaring bright to keep pace. Then sudden stillness. The tunnel opens into a vast hollow above the world, a cavern with no roof. Its walls lined with countless mirrors, each mirror veined, each pulsing softly. They breathe together, an immense organism of memory, a body made from all who have carried lanterns, all who have flown before. The great bat lowers you to a ledge of bone and stone. Mir separates from the form, returning to your shoulder with wings trembling from exertion. The shadow creature dissolves, breaking apart into streams of breath that rise into the mirrors, absorbed, stored, carried forward. You stand, lantern heavy now, almost too heavy, but still yours. One mirror nearest you brightens, its veins shaping themselves into an image of your own face, fractured, multiplied, fading even as it forms. You reach out, not to touch, but to acknowledge, and the image bows, then scatters into threads that vanish upward. Mere whispers, faint as falling dust. This is where flights end, and where they begin again. You turn slowly, gazing at the endless chamber of mirrors, each one a keeper, each one a vow remembered or broken, each one humming with stories. Your knees weaken, you sink to the bone floor, holding the lantern close. Mir rests against your cheek, tired yet faithful, and the chamber darkens, leaving only the steady glow of your flame. The great flight is over, but its shadow remains in you. Veins rewritten, breath reshaped, heart slower, deeper, bound to night's patient rhythm. The silence in the cavern does not feel empty. It feels filled with listening, as though every mirror leans closer, waiting for the rhythm of your next breath. You sense their hunger, but not for flesh, not for blood, for memory itself, for the taste of a life carried in shadows. Mir presses close to your ear, its whisper inside thought. Not all lanterns survive the flight, but the Keeper does, if they accept what the flame remembers. The lantern warms unbearably now, as though the flame has grown heavy, each flicker tugging threads from your chest. You lift it higher, and light spills into the cavern. Mirrors blaze in answer, their veins shifting into stories that are not yours, but might become yours if you listen too deeply. One mirror shows a woman kneeling in snow, shawls bright as fire, blood dripping onto bark spirals, her mouth chanting words that arrive in your throat even though you do not speak. Another shows a figure seated in the rocking chair, faceless, swaying with the rhythm of your lungs. Another shows only the witch's hand, resting on the very lantern you hold, though the flame inside it burns blue, not gold. You stagger back, but there is nowhere to go. The ledge holds you as surely as a palm holds an insect. The mirrors continue to pulse, faster now, their rhythm almost panicked. Mir shrieks softly, a sound so high it is more thought than noise. And the lantern steadies, the mirrors dim, the cavern exhales. Your shoulders tremble, sweat beads on your skin though the air is cold as stone. The witch's voice returns, faint, distant, carried through veins of light. Do not drown in the mirrors. You are not here to live their lives, only to remember your own. The words give you weight again. Your knees press firmer against bone floor. Your hands grip the lantern steady. Mir nuzzles your cheek once. Forgiveness, encouragement, warning. Perhaps all three at once. The cavern hush deepens until you hear again only your own pulse, joined with the faint throb of your familiar's wings. Slowly, the mirrors retract their glow, folding back into patience, their hunger caged for now. The lantern flame lowers, but it does not weaken. Instead, it settles, like a heart learning a calmer rhythm. You rise to your feet, and the cavern shifts in recognition, veins bending into a downward spiral, a path leading away from mirrors. Mir takes flight, circling once before landing back on your shoulder. Claws light but grounding. You step forward, lantern guiding. The path winds through hollows of bone and root, past fissures that breathes sighs of forgotten promises. Past alcoves where chains of feathers sway without air. You feel each relic calling, but Mir hums low, urging you onward, reminding you the path is already heavy with what you carry. At last the spiral narrows, light pressing into a single seam ahead. You pass through, and the forest greets you again. Though changed, fog deeper, ground softer, trees bending closer, as if listening for what the flight has etched into your breath. The elder hollow behind you grows quiet. It seems sealed, its spirals dimmed. The witch waits at the tree line, her hood lowered, hands folded over her chest. No smile, no frown, only acceptance. She nods once, and in that nod you hear, the flight is complete. Mir folds its wings around your throat like a collar of living night, claws easing as though finally at rest. The lantern flame bows gently, not demanding, not proud, only present, only breathing with you. You exhale, and the clearing exhales in turn. For now, the hollow is finished with you, and you are finished with it, until it calls again. You bow to the witch, to the trees, to the fog that remembers, and you walk into the night, slower, heavier, but also lighter, as though the world itself has been shifted just slightly. The lantern's glow spills onto the path, guiding not just your steps, but every step that will follow after. Mir hums softly, and sleep presses at the edges of your vision. A sleep not of weakness, but of acceptance. The flight is ended, and its shadow will remain forever inside your veins. The story has ended, but the hollow does not vanish. It lingers just beyond the veil of your breathing. The lantern you carried burns quietly now. No longer heavy, no longer demanding. Simply a steady glow folded inside your chest. Mir rests with wings folded, its warmth pressed to your shoulder. It does not whisper. It does not stir. It only breathes in rhythm with you. The witch is gone. Or perhaps she was never there at all. Only a shape the hollow used to guide you. The spirals carved into bark and stone are closed, resting as you must rest, waiting for the next keeper who will walk their curves. You lie back in your mind, against the soil that feels softer than any bed, and the fog closes gently, not to hide, but to cradle. Each thread you saw in the mirror of veins has quieted, humming low like lullabies sung from very far away. No visions come now. No images demand to be carried. There is only stillness, and in stillness, the promise of sleep. The hollow tells you without words, you are safe in its silence, safe in its patience, safe in its shadows. You need not move. You need not answer. Only let breath slow. Let thought soften. Let the night take its place around you. Your heart is calmer now. Slower, heavier, yet free. Every part of you is allowed to rest. Every part of you has already returned. The fog settles over your eyes like a gentle cloth, closing them. Deeper, quieter. The lantern dims, leaving only its warmth inside you. A glow you may keep forever. Mere curls smaller, breathing once, then again, sinking into perfect stillness. The tale has ended. Now sleep. If you can, I'll be just beyond the veil, listening.